Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty and the Frizz. My name is Cara, and whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging with me today. Y'all, okay, it's Sunday, but like right now it's Saturday evening and it's still part of my little birthday weekend. I got on the same clothes. I just put the same clothes back on. I am having a great weekend. Unfortunately, you guys, the boys are not gonna be in this video. I know, because they are with my parents for the weekend. It is so quiet here. My boyfriend did come over for the weekend. So he's like, do you have to record? Or not, do you have to record? He's like, I know you want to record, like, and I want you to record. So he's got his Xbox and I got my mimosa. So yes, y'all, it's gonna be a great mimosas and makeup. I hope y'all are here for it because I am. Today I'm gonna be doing my January roundup. I'm gonna be talking about many of the products that I tried in January. It's gonna be a mix of new and old and how I feel about them and if I'm loving them or not. So if you're interested in seeing that, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love and you about to get this Oden's eye palette later today and Kaleidos, maybe some of it Kaleidos, and you want to connect with another makeup enthusiast that's struggling through it all just like you, definitely consider joining the community. I would love to have you back. All right, let's get started. Let me tell you, so today we went to Burlington Coat Factory, Tyrone and I did. And as I was checking out, let me show you what I got real fast. I don't know what happened to August PJ Masks umbrella, but it was $6.99, so I got him that because when it rains, this fool wanna be Gene Kelly. Well, look what they had. I'm too late for Valentine's Day as far as decorating the house, but they had these shower curtains for $4.99. Got this little doggy one. Let me show y'all. See the little dogs and animals there, and then the little clovers. So I'll be on track for that, but Valentine's Day was a miss. Anyway, when I was checking out, this made it all worth it. I might have to back up. Let me show y'all this bag. Come on, Burlington. Burlington Coat Factory with more than great coats. You see this? Y'all know this is my slogan, my life slogan. Start each day with a grateful heart. I wish it wasn't in cursive so I could just reiterate it to these kids, but I still will. Grateful heart. So let me tell y'all real quick. August has been so pressed to go to Poppy's house. That's my dad. So August, let me tell y'all the whole story. So the whole thing was like for me to have the kid-free weekend or whatever. So August, River, and Brian, we're gonna go with Poppy. That's my dad. Of course, we asked Marky, do you wanna go with Poppy? No. I'm like, okay. If you've ever heard Marky talk, that's how he really sounds. No thanks, that's just what he sounds like. I'm going to go to Mimi's house. So all three boys are over at Poppy's and Marky is at Mimi's house. So everybody will be back tomorrow and you know, but it's so quiet here. Tyrone was like, it's so quiet. I'm like, I know. So we watched this documentary on Netflix this morning called The Tinder Swindler. I just need y'all to watch it. I don't want to spoil it. It's just amazing what money can do and what love can do and what people can get away with if you let them. Please watch The Tinder Swindler. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. I want to talk about a lot of the products I've tried this month. I can't talk about them all because since I have been so focused on like rotating through my collection, I have tried a lot of things or retried a lot of things. So I'm just picking out some standouts. I don't want to call this like a favorites and fails because a lot of these are likes, just things that I am really getting to know in my collection. Some are new, some are old, some are things I'm revisiting, which would make them old. Let me know if you like this type of video. Let's go ahead and get started on this. Oh, and it's also Super Bowl Sunday. Let me know if y'all watch the Super Bowl. So I don't have any stake in this football game, but I definitely am interested in the halftime show. I do enjoy watching the commercials, and I really enjoy any occasion where I can just make a party out of it. So I'm gonna patty up some burgers. I have some charcoal. We're gonna just do hot dogs and hamburgers, some salad, and just chill. Like, nobody really cares about the Super Bowl, but I do like the commercials. So we're gonna start with blush. Now with that, I have tried several blushes and retried some blushes in my collection. The first one I want to focus on is my Kaleidos Lo-Fi Duo Blusher. Now this is a blush I have always liked. I've always enjoyed this blush. In fact, during my makeup wish list video, the one thing I said I was looking forward to Kaleidos bringing back, hopefully, was the blush. I did decide on getting 2 blushes later on today if I can. Don't get me wrong, I know I can wear all 5 of them, but I'm not going to get all 5. The collector in me is really, really traumatized by this, but I've got to do better, and I really mean that. So I did play around with this blush several times this month, just to make sure that I really do like the blush as much as I say that I do. And I really do. I love this blush, and I love the topper that comes with it, and I love the shade that it forms when you mix both of these textures together. The Kaleidos blush is just something I definitely want to add to my collection, but I don't need all 5. Another blush I tried this month was the Open to the Sky blush by Notoriously Morbid. This was my very first time trying a powder blush. I really did like this. The only thing that deters me from it is that it is a powder, and I am mess prone. So this is just something that I have to be very careful with when I use it, but on the skin, the blush was very, very beautiful. I wish it had some type of, I don't know, it's what the Rare Beauty powder has. It's like a little spin thing that will stop the excess powder from coming out so that you don't make a mess. But on the skin, this blush is very beautiful. I don't own a bunch of purple blushes, and I think on the skin it was very pretty. That's the shade there. I enjoyed trying these blushes out for the first time. I don't know how much I'm going to use this, but I was definitely glad to try it out. I just have to get used to it being a powder, a loose powder. Continuing on with blush, I did try out the Rare Beauty liquid blush. This is in the shade Believe. I'm actually wearing this right now. It is extremely pigmented. So to get the shade that I have on right now, and this is still a little bit blown out, I believe, from the lighting, here's what it looks like. But just to get this amount of pigment, it took 2 dots, like 1, 2. And what I used to diffuse the blush out was the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Blush Brush. And that's what it looks like. It is very good at diffusing this blush out. It does it really nice, although the brush is it's a bit prickly, it is. But it works fine for what it needs to do. Now you can see that this shade is very diffused. I really do like the shade that I chose. I would definitely recommend these Rare Beauty blushes. I think they're gonna last for a really long time. I also got very familiar with the Nars Afterglow blush palette. I think as far as blush, this will probably be my favorite for the month. I love all of the shades. Here's what the palette looks like, and the 2 shades that really convinced me were this shade, Exhibit A, which is a bright red. Not sure if you can see it now, but it is a bright red. It is beautiful. This shade Savage was another one. It was these 2 that convinced me. This shade Savage is almost a dupe for the Chanel Brune Russie blush and another blush. It's almost the same color as the chains, to be honest with you. Not too far off at all. And you can get this whole palette for under the price of 1 Chanel blush. These other shades are great too. And I like that there are a couple of different textures. You have matte and then you have a shimmer blush. So might have bought this with Christmas money. Might have. So this month I also tried the blush Comet in Coral Etoile by Chanel. I call it the Star Blush. And this is like a very beautiful pinky coral shade. My star is still intact after a few uses. I really like that I went ahead with this one. I'm glad I didn't go with any of the other blushes. The lighter blush that came in this collection was basically a highlighter. And that was also the case for the lighter blush that's in the summer collection. So I think this was my best bet. I don't regret it at all. I love the shade, I love the finish, I love it all. I really feel like the lighting in the promo pics and on the website, this was a great choice for me, and I'm glad I stuck with my choice. An expensive choice, but I really like this. And to round up blushes for this month, and this kind of goes with like blush highlight, I ended up buying 3 of these Charlotte Tilbury beauty wands. Apparently these things are always out of stock, and once they came in, I did purchase 3 of them. I believe Pinkgasm just came back again. I have the first one, which is Spotlight. Spotlight is a highlighter. I love this. It's just a very natural, smooth and dewy highlighter that gives your skin a natural wet look, and that's what it looks like. I find myself going for it almost on a daily basis. It doesn't mess up anything that you've already put on, and it dries down really nice. I always put a little bit like going down the bridge of my nose, here, under here, and it just looks great. It doesn't have a powdery look. It doesn't have an ashy look. It just has a beautiful, dewy, skin-like look. Now, the other 2 shades that I purchased were Peachgasm and Pinkgasm. So these are like blush lights, I would call them, almost like how Melt has the blush lights. Sometimes even if I put on a powder blush, I will just tap a little bit on top. I use my fingers all the time with this and just tap it in. So let's see. We have Peachgasm here and Pinkgasm. So I'm not sure how well you can see them. I did kind of diffuse it out, but just the finish that it gives to your skin is just so natural looking, and I'm just all about having that glowy look lately. I think that is going to be it as far as blush and highlighters go. So now let's talk about bronzers. This month I tried out 2 bronzers. Let me start with the Rare Beauty stick bronzer. I have the shade Happy Soul. I think this bronzer is a really nice cream bronzer. I just like the formula of the stick, and I do feel like it melts really nicely in your skin and just gives a nice warm look. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to blend out, whether you want to use a brush or whether you want to use your fingers. I don't know, Rare Beauty is, I feel like low-key, they're really doing some nice things. I haven't tried all of their products. Seems like a brand that's like super great quality, so I do have that brand on my radar. It just seems like a very nice brand, like with good quality as well as a good price point. Let me know what you think about Rare Beauty if you've tried other things from the brand. What's gonna take the cake for me this month is the Chanel Le Beige's Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. This is in the shade Tan Deep Bronze. This is just everything. It really is. I'm smelling it. There's a little smell there. And I'm mad because I messed up my design because I put this little piece in the wrong way and then I had to use a knife to get it out. So got messed up. You don't need much of this bronzer. I feel like it's gonna last forever. I'm wearing it now. It's beautiful. It melts in the skin. I like the texture. I like it all. And again, I usually blend this out just kind of with my fingers, or I use my e.l.f. this brush right here. This is the e.l.f. Putty Blush Bronzer. Yes, because I don't need to get a luxury brush for this bronzer because the bronzer is already expensive. Honestly, I don't think $50 is a big ask for how much of the product that you're getting. And you can let me know Yeah, let me know what you think about that. It's an ounce, but I don't know, it just seems like it's a lot in here. And this is plastic, so I'm not like deceived like by a heavy glass jar or anything like that. The only thing I wish is that they would have more shades. They can go deeper with this, because if I'm getting tan deep, that's all I'm gonna say. So since we're talking about face products, let's talk about foundations. All right, the first thing we're gonna talk about is the Glow Lust by Auric. Now, the first shade I had in this was the shade Pyrite. So this is a radiant luminizer. Most people compare this to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter that goes under foundation. From what I've heard, the Auric product is way thicker, and I don't feel like it's heavy at all. What I do with this is sometimes I use it as a primer. I may mix it in with my sunscreen. Sometimes I may just go ahead and mix it in with my foundation, but it's usually mixed in. This shade Pyrite is the one I mix in. It's a little light, just a little bit. And I feel like it just gives my skin a really nice dewy highlight. So you can see that's not my skin tone. This is the shade that gets mixed in with other products. Auric happened to have a sale, and me being me, I wanted to get more things, but the good thing about Auric is they only have 2 products. I did want to try another shade of the Glow Lust. Now this shade is my skin tone. This is Sunstone. This one I can just use instead of foundation, especially like if I just want to just put something on to kind of even things out and go ahead and go and do what I need to do. I don't even know if you can see Sunstone. Like, I think it really blends in. Yeah, so Sunstone is right here. Like, I don't even think you can see it. I know some people feel like it's heavy, but I love it. I really, really love it. And it's gonna take me a bit of time to get through these, but I would for sure recommend these and repurchase them. And if you're the type of person that just likes a tint or likes a little fresh face, like, these are great. Now, surprisingly for me, I tried out 3 foundations this month. The first one that I tried was the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, and this is in the shade 9 Neutral. I really like this, and I feel as though at the end of the day, when I looked at my skin, there was still a dewiness, a radiant look to my skin, and I thought that it was great. It's medium coverage. If that's what you like, I think you would like this. You cannot try to build this up too much. It's not gonna work, and I think that it could possibly feel heavy. As far as the skincare ingredients that are involved, I don't know if I really noticed anything as far as that's concerned, but I do like how it looks on my skin. The only thing I will say is, regardless of the fact that I got a neutral shade, I still feel like it was a little bit warm. Like, let's see. Like, I think this is the right shade, but for some reason, I just feel like the shades runs warm a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but I like this. I'm not even saying I wouldn't repurchase it. I really like it. And I thought that the way it looked on my skin was nice. I don't know, I just felt like they were yellow. Like, not warm, I feel like they ran yellow, if that makes sense. Now these 2 I bought at the same time. If you remember me having my little day out. I can't say I've used these for a whole month, but what I will say is that I've been back and forth using these 2, especially since I bought them, and I love them both. So let's start with the Chanel. So the Chanel smells like something you could use on a baby. That's the best way for me to explain it, because it's not a flowery smell, which is what a lot of the luxury brands always include in their products. I like this. I feel like this one is really, really light. I think the match to my skin, which is B50, I think it was perfect. I think that I used maybe 2 pumps for my skin. This is light coverage. It is a tint. So if you don't want something that's light, I would say just pass on it. You know what I mean? Because it's just not gonna be what you want, and it's expensive. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of redness, but I do get a little bit of redness under here, and I didn't really realize that until this month. Like, I was putting foundation on and I'm like, oh, that's what people mean when they say it evens out the redness. So like, I don't have severe dark circles under my eyes, but this definitely kind of cancels that out. It just gives you a nice fresh look. If you want to have a no makeup look, I think this one is really good for that. And I just love the scent. And then I tried the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I was more interested in trying to figure out which shade I was in Nars because I thought I was Syracuse. And I found out that I am the shade Valencia, and I think I could also go with Barcelona. So the reason that I like this one, now this one has, I think, a bit more coverage than the Chanel foundation, but it also has like that radiant sheen that it leaves behind. So see, like if you like matte, then this is not going to be what you want. And I think if you have oily skin, I don't know if you want to add something like this, you know what I mean, to your skin. So you know, you see my star tattoo, you can see that it has covered some of it up. So it does give you some coverage. You can still see like part of the star, but yeah, it's definitely some medium coverage that possibly can be built up. I have worn the Chanel, the Charlotte Tilbury, and the Nars all day, and I just feel like for me, they wore away nicely. Again, I do wear a mask, so it is gonna wear under here. But if I've worn it all day without, I don't know. I don't look at me at the end of the day and be like, what happened? Like, I don't feel like that. And I don't want to buy anything where I would feel like that. The stuff is too expensive. So that's how I feel about the foundations. All right, so now let's talk about lips. I have a few lip products that I have been wearing this month that I have been enjoying. Let's start with these two by Chanel. These are the two that came with the Comet collection. These are both Rouge Allure Velvet lipsticks, and I bought two shades. There were 8, and these are like 40 bucks. So no, I bought 2. The first one I purchased was Terre d'Etoile, and this is what it looks like. Now this shade, I think for me is a everyday shade. I think it's beautiful. I really liked the way that this shade looked on my lips, so no regrets here. The second shade that I felt was very interesting was Brune Celeste, and it's this shade here. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble with deep lipsticks. There it is. The reason that I have trouble is because I think my lips are, I'm not saying they're like, oh my gosh, my lips are so large, but I think it's just the position that I hold my mouth in. You're able to see this whole inner pink part here. So unless I hold my lips a certain way, sometimes I feel like deep lipsticks do not look right, even though I continue to try to make them work. And I just have not found the trick yet. And if you watch me put lipstick on, especially like the liquid lipstick, like the matte ones, you'll see me go like this to try to get it in here and let it dry, because this part of the lip is wet. So it's hard. And trying to put a lipstick on, like this part shows, and it's very frustrating because I would not mind wearing deeper lipsticks. I'm not a red lipstick lover, but I do like that Brune Celeste shade. I think that shade is so dope, but when I put it on, that's the issue that I'm having. I do better with like balmy type lipsticks that are deep. So I'm still trying to work with how I can get these deep lipsticks to look right. They look right, but only when I hold my mouth a certain way, if that makes sense. And my bottom lip, it's just a habit. It just, if I'm not paying attention to it, if I'm concentrating or anything like that, it tends to hang down. It is what it is. And I don't like the way the lipstick looks because it's a harsh difference. is what I'm trying to say. I have these two Mystic Mattes from Notoriously Morbid. If you watched my video on the Rose from the Dead collection, I did try on all 4, but these two were my favorite. This shade, the light one, is the shade Timelessness. This was a shade I was kind of worried about. I thought it was gonna make me look like I had, oh, this isn't it. Shoot, I don't know where Timelessness is. But this one's like a taupe. I liked all 4, but I think my 3 favorites were the really light one, this one, and then this deep one is the shade Mourn. And it's like just a real cool tone purple. And I love that too. So I'm excited to continue working with these shades. Again, this one does the same thing with the lip. So just working with them, but these have a great dry down. Liquid mattes, they're dry. You know, they really are. You're not gonna have a moist liquid matte lipstick, but I don't think that it makes my lips look dry. It's not accentuating like textures in my lips or making me look like I have cracks, because I have had lipsticks like that. Happy to have these and do plan on using them much more. And then what I'm wearing right now is the Hyaluronic Lipstick Lip Balm by Charlotte Tilbury. And this is like a lip gloss lipstick. It's a little sticky, but I love it. This is in the shade Happy Petal. I love, oh no. All right, here's what it looks like, and you click it up to, you know, get more of the balm. I don't know how long Charlotte Tilbury has had these, but I have 2 shades. I have this and I have Pillow Talk. I am seeing more of these type of lipsticks coming out. YSL has one, and I'm gonna get one of those. Oh, I think Dior is coming out with these. So it's like these high shine lipsticks, but they're not glosses. And these are right up my alley because I'm not a lip gloss girl. For some reason, I feel like it makes me get this like white line here, and it really frustrates me. But I love this, and I have one more lip product to talk about, which is a lip oil, and this is by Merit Beauty. This is in the shade Taupe, and I think they call this it really feels like an oil, and it has a little sheer tint to it. I have this shade and the shade Cara, but you see it's just it's different than a lip gloss. It's not sticky or anything like that, and it just gives a little tint and a little just sheer shine. I'm glad that Merit allowed me to choose those because I wouldn't have chosen them. I probably would have thought it was just a gloss. So happy to have these. So last but not least, let's talk about eyeshadow palettes. Y'all know what was coming. We're gonna talk about some standout eyeshadow palettes that I have tried this month. Some are new, some are old. So let's get to it, and then I will let y'all go. All right, one of the palettes that I tried this month was the Celestial Odyssey Luxe Quad in Bronze Borealis. I had no intentions on purchasing this quad at all. Pat McGrath had this massive sale. These were, I think, $54. She ended up having a sale where the 2 Luxe Quads were 2 for $60, and then I got an extra 25% off on Instagram. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to my collection. This is what the quad looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, there is nothing special about this. If you have Divine Rose, you don't need this. There's just nothing to it. Now, did I create a nice look? Yes, I used it in my palette rotation video. Are the colors beautiful? Yes, they are really pretty. The quality is great, but there's nothing special. These two were just like, I just had to come out with something. All right, sticking with Pat McGrath, we're gonna talk about Bridgerton. I don't think there's anything spectacular about it. And I'm a bit disappointed that the first quad that she had an astral shade in is this one. I think it's okay. I'm not big on the astral shades. I'm not big on the special shades. There are some special shades that are better than others in my book, and this one is just okay. I don't know why the pink is just such a big deal. It's just something that maybe I'm not advanced enough to understand. I could have done without this. This was more of just a collector purchase. It really doesn't have the luxury Pat McGrath feel, and I don't know, I just don't care for it that much. Another palette I tried for the first time this month is not a new palette, but this is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. This palette is so beautiful, and I understand why people are still trying to get their hands on this palette. What I don't understand is why it does not get restocked. This is the good quality melt formula that we all know and love. You've got a neutral side, you've got a green side. You can do split it down the middle and do kind of a monochromatic, or you can mix it up. I think this probably maybe one of Melt's best palettes. This should be the standard for a Melt palette. If it's not gonna be Gemini quality, I don't know if we should come out with the palette. That's how I feel about it. This has not been restocked on Melt's website in a very long time. I got this from Sephora on just a fluke last year. Melt needs to bring this back. I should have kept this with Pat McGrath. The other palette that I brought back this month was the Dark Star palette. Just another beautiful, unique color story by Pat McGrath. I love that you have a matte gray. This blue blows Regency blue out of the water. Like, it is a blue purple duochrome flip. I would take that over Regency blue any day, hands down. Okay, you've got a gold, you've got kind of like a beige champagne gold, you've got this beautiful plummy satin shade, and then you have a black. It's just a very unique color story. And these 6 pans and the earlier motherships, I just think the color stories are so great. They're the color stories that make you wonder, what were they thinking when they came out with this? Like, what were they on? But now I'm asking, what were they on about the pinks too, but not in a good way. This was really good. I'm sure you can find it on Mercari or eBay or something like that if you like this color story. But I tried 3 palettes by Notoriously Morbid this month, and I thought these 2 were going to be the Valentine's Day release, but I was wrong. So we have the My Story quad, and then we have My Soul. I would say out of the 2 of these, the My Story quad was just, it was phenomenal. I don't really care for the flaky shades, so there were none in this. I thought this warm tone brown was just really spectacular, and I just thought it was a really cute quad for Notoriously Morbid to do. The My Soul was cool. It's just not a color story I'm gonna wear often because I don't really care for blue. I did really care for this duochrome shade. I thought this was really, really beautiful. It was just really silky smooth. I love that shade. But this one had a flaky in it, which was this one here, and I probably won't really use that too much. The second palette that I just tried is the Rose from the Dead collection, and I thought this was such a different palette for Notoriously Morbid. They don't really come out with a lot of palettes where they initially, like upon looking at them, look soft. This might not have the amount of depth that many people would like it to have, and it's surprising for Notoriously Morbid because they are a grungy brand, and this is kind of totally opposite of it, and that's what I like about it. All right, you guys, also this month I pulled out the Sydney Grace and Temptalia Radiant Reflection palette and did a look with this in my palette rotation, and I continue to, I was gonna say re-fall in love with these palettes every time I use them. I just think they're great palettes. I did not purchase the new Sydney Grace Be Mine palette just because I felt like it was really similar to Sydney Grace singles that I have in my collection. I'm sorry, but this little curl right here is driving me crazy, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to. It's just got these beautiful like jewel tones. It just reminds me of like my type of rainbow palette. And I'm just so glad to have these. You might be tired of me talking about the legendary Diversa collection by Odin's Eye, but I did pull these out this month. I've used this palette 2 times in January. When I'm saying this month, I'm talking about January because I'm not thinking about that it's February. And I did use the Giant Wolves palette. I'm not gonna elaborate too much because I have talked about these palettes in great detail, but the creativity and uniqueness of Giant Wolves is something that I genuinely enjoy. The Red Dragon palette is a new favorite of mine. Very underestimated, very underrated. It is not your typical neutral palette. Not gonna harp on these too much because they are discontinued, which is very unfortunate. Luckily, if you missed these three, you have Angelica's palette that's coming out today. I do plan on getting that with my scarf. So another palette that I wanna highlight that is an oldie and a goodie is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina palette. I did a look with this recently. I did not have the opportunity to film it. It made me want to buy a backup of this palette. I just think this palette is just one of the best palettes I've ever seen. Jackie Aina did her thing with this. Like, I just feel like this palette honestly should go down in history as just a classic. And we're gonna wrap it up. We have one more palette to talk about, and it's the palette I'm wearing now. It is the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Dollhouse palette. This palette is bomb. I bought this with my Christmas money from my dad. I have done 3 looks with this palette, and I want to do 2 more before I put up a video and do a review. Same type of great matte quality as the original Blends palette. This was my first time trying out the shimmers. I have no issues with anything in this palette. I'm so glad that I went ahead and purchased this palette, and I cannot wait to do more looks with it. I will probably continue to pick and choose from the releases that come from this brand. If this is on your list or on your radar, even if you want to wait for a sale, I just want to let you know this is great, and I enjoy the brush set as well. All right, you guys, so that's it. I feel like I had a lot to talk about as far as things that I used this month, and that wasn't everything, but these are the standouts for me. I really like doing these mini reviews because I do want to come back and revisit the things that I may have done videos on, because I want you to know, like, do I still really like them? Or was it just an impression? I think that's really important, especially if it's something you're considering spending your money on. So let me know what you think about everything down in the comments. So thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me today on another episode of Mimosas and Makeup. I hope this was therapy for you. It always is for me. And until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice, stay safe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.